Welcome to Through the Woods 360, guys. I'm glad you could join us today in the beautiful Shawnee, the damp Shawnee.
It's good whether it's damp or not, you know, raining. I would prefer this to be frozen precipitation, but you know, but that's me because I'm kind of crazy. But we had big plans. We were going to be camping at Giant City, and which we are, but we had planned on cooking there, and honestly, we want to cook on a fire. I mean, it's finally cool enough to be around a fire, so we didn't want to just set up the stove under the canopy. It's really not much fun. So we decided that we were going to take a ride down the road here, and we found us a little pavilion, and we built ourselves a fire here, and we are going to cook for you.
One of my all-time favorites from a child on, good old ham and slickers.
And you have somebody you work with, I think, that requested it.
He's been curious ever since you mentioned it in the chicken and dumplings.
Well, slickers are just another term for flat dumplings. You know, they end up slick. I don't know, they call them slickers.
Slick dumplings.
Mom always called them slickers. And when we were kids, we had chicken and dumplings with Grandma, and they meant dumplings, fluffy dumplings, drop dumplings, like what we did in our chicken and dumplings. But ham and slickers were always the rolled dumplings. So we have this. We're going to address a couple of things this weekend. We want to talk a lot about, you know, we got some hard times coming upon us. At least it looks like it's going to be that way. The price of meat's up, and we were raised waste not, want not. So we're going to kind of pass on a little of that to you that is really second nature to us. But part of this is this, I could have canned this, but I didn't. I chose to freeze it because, you know, we have electricity. But if you didn't have a freezer, you could have canned it just the same and made it shelf stable. Last year for Christmas, Gino gets a ham from the railroad. Awesome bone-in ham.
Absolutely.
Gets it every year.
And it's greatly appreciated.
Oh, it's wonderful. Comes from somewhere down in Bonne Terre. That's
Missouri.
it. Well, anyway, so we ate off of Christmas, and there were leftovers, so I cooked the bone down and took all the ham off of it, and they just made ham and beans out of it, and now we've got another container of it, and we're going to make ham and slickers out of it. But you don't ever want to waste anything because you only got so much, you know. You might get used to throwing it out, but we tend to keep it and make do with it later, and I think that might be something pretty important here to come in the times ahead of us.
And we're going to, tomorrow, I know this is a little ahead of things, but tomorrow we're going to be covering some shelf-stable food items that you can stock up on, and we're going to show you how to make a delicious breakfast with them.
We are. It's gonna be with canned meat, but I guarantee you, if you try it, you're gonna like it. So stay tuned. It's good to have you back, and cheers, guys. Cheers, Gino.
Cheers.
Okay, so sorry it is a little dark in here, but there's no power. So we're getting ready to make the slickers. In this bowl right here, I have 3 cups of flour, a teaspoon and a half of baking powder, and a teaspoon and a half of salt, whatever salt you want. So to this, we're going to add, I'm going to take this bowl, and this is pretty standard in any recipe, make a well in the side of it, move my flour out to the sides, and I'm going to add to it 1 egg that we've beaten a little bit, and a cup of, it's the ham broth. If you were making chicken and dumplings with there's the light.
That's not going to work. Sorry, guys.
With the rolled dumplings, you would use chicken stock. I really would imagine you could do this with any kind of meat. It doesn't matter. You could probably do it with vegetables if you're a vegetarian, but I don't know any of those. But so I am going to take a cup of ham stock that we took out of our ham.
That just makes a glare.
And
I'm going to zoom into your bowl there, Les.
1 egg beaten. So you don't have to beat the crap out of it or anything, but you know, make sure that it's all beaten. So 1 egg beaten.
Let's see if
there we go. So we're just, can you get in there?
See if I can get up here and get a little closer where they can see what you're doing.
And let me move it to you.
Or just pull it back to you and tip it up a little bit if you can. There you go.
Oh.
Now we got a good shot.
Okay, so we're going to mix this up together. And this is going to be stiff, and I'm probably getting my hands in there because It has to be stiff enough that we can roll it out. This has to be to the consistency that we can put it on a flour cutting board and we can actually roll this out. But the reason why we add this ham stock in here, or if you were doing chicken and dumplings, slickers, if you want to call it that, you would add chicken broth, is because you're wanting to infuse that flavor into your dumplings. So like I said, I done stirred it up with a spoon, and if you can see...
Oh, here, let me zoom back in. I had panned out some.
That is not at all, dough. It's all... But we're going to get in here with our hands, and we're going to... Sometimes you got to get dirty when you cook. It's just how it is.
Grandma used to call that knochen.
Yeah, knochen, yeah. And that actually is a German word, but any of my German friends out there, maybe they can tell me how it translates. What are you looking at?
Well, yeah, and Grandma's family was from the German-Polish border, so who knows? It could be a mixture of stuff.
Well, the problem with what we learned as we were children is the dialect of German that was spoken when my grandparents, our grandparents, grew up, is no longer, it's a lost dialect.
Right.
So I'm just, can you see that, Gino? I'm just wiping down the side of this bowl with this dough.
Yep. Gotta
get everything. So we're just gonna work this a little bit and get this flour worked in here. And since we are not at home where I have a table or a countertop or whatever to roll things out on, we're actually going to roll this out on this cutting board that my sister gave us.
Cutting board right there, and a wonderful rolling pin that my loving sister Leslie bought for me. See how she loves me.
He didn't, about a year ago, he didn't have a rolling pin. And I was like, are you serious? You don't have a rolling pin? How do you even make cookies without a rolling pin? And he said,
drop cookies.
Well, drop cookies. And I was like, oh no, you have a daughter. You have got to have a rolling pin because she's got to learn how to ice cookies. So, and I said, plus, what if you're going to make a pie? You're going to make a pie crust. You got to have a rolling pin. So I bought him one, and these are awesome because they have these little things on the ends. And there's a couple more that go on here. And that sets your depth of it. And it makes it into a no-brainer. You just roll it out and it stays that thickness.
For the record, I did have a rolling pin. I had a non-stick rolling pin that nothing stuck to except the dough.
Nice. Yeah. That's awesome.
Biggest piece of junk ever.
So we already have this rolled basically into a dough, mixed into a dough. So I'm gonna pinch this off into here in little pieces that I think will probably make maybe in about thirds. That I think will make about what we need that'll fit on this thing here. And we've got these little things here that are non-skid things. So I don't know. We'll try it out and might have to do it in fours. But it'll be all right.
While she's working on that, guys, please, if you would, if you feel so inclined, hit the thumbs up button. It helps the channel out a lot. And leave us a comment. We're still trying to figure out...
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Honestly, wow, we keep getting comments out of the same people. And you know what? I'm starting to think y'all don't like us.
Leave a comment on what would you rather see. Would you rather see a close-up of the food actually being prepped, a combination of both, or a total distant shot? I mean, give us some feedback and let us know what works best for you.
And you can, I forgot to tell you, I also, because I am a pepper lover, I put a half of a teaspoon of fresh ground black pepper in here because I like pepper.
You're not the only pepper lover.
You don't have to do that, okay? But I did because I like it. So anyway, we're gonna roll this out and then we're gonna cut them up and we're gonna set them aside and wait to drop them in all when we get them all rolled out. But anyway, honestly, I'm serious. Comment and tell us what you want to see. What do you want to see? You know, we're trying to, it's cooling off now, so we can actually cook more on an open fire, which we've got a lot of things in the future. We've got cornbread and ham and beans and chili. We got to make chili. I love
SOS.
Yeah, Gino, we've got to make SOS. So we've got our own ideas, but we'd really like to hear what you want to see. You know, I love to cook anything, you know, and maybe it's something I haven't even thought about.
I think it would be fun. I think it would actually be fun for us if somebody sent in a suggestion of something we had never done before.
Oh yeah,
so we could kind of learn while we do it, you know?
Oh, definitely, definitely. Oh, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah. You tell us what you want to see, and we'd like to see what we can do. You know, that's all the fun of it. You know, it's no fun if you're just doing the same thing over and over again. I mean, I can cook for you every day like I cook in my kitchen at home, but I just kind of want an idea of what you guys want.
Mom always said the most fun of cooking was experimentation. You know, make it your own. Take a dish and make it your own.
Yep. So we're going to roll these on the thin side, and like I said, I'm err on the side of caution, so
about what,
I've actually...
1/4 inch less? Is that what we decided on?
I'm thinking 1/4 inch. I could certainly put a little more out here than this, because this is not turning into much at all. But I don't know, Gino, that seems to be about the right thickness.
I think so, from what I remember.
So we've got these set with this here fancy rolling pin at 1/4 inch. My dad bought me one of these, and it's awesome when you make butter cookies. And we're going to bring you along when we make butter cookies.
It saves you a lot of work, and it keeps you from getting uneven spots in your dough where
it does.
Some's thicker and some's thinner.
Just rolls over it, and once you're rolled over it, that's it. So this is our first little thing of dumplings. And if you grabbing that knife, I'll cut them. And
I was way ahead of you.
Grab a piece of parchment paper. Now, Mom never worried about the dumplings all being exactly the same size, because you got the ends, and we didn't re-roll them. So she would just go through them and cut them all about like this, about 1 inch by 1 inch. And then these get dumped in that hot stock once we get it boiling. We just got it simmering over there now because I don't want to let it boil and lose all my liquid out of it. So we've just got it simmering, but we're going to get all these rolled out.
Leslie, I don't know how to tell you this.
What?
This is not parchment paper.
Oh, it's okay. Get a plate. It doesn't matter.
It is a Pampered Chef cutting board.
Oh, no, it's a cooking stone.
Or cooking stone, I'm sorry.
Okay, see, so we got some little ones here, but you know what? If this little one turns into nothing, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You know, it'll just thicken the stock, which
well, just like
all of this is going to, and that's why you don't worry about getting too much flour on these dumplings, because these dumplings are going to cook in that stock, and it's going to make it thick. Just like the drop dumplings and the chicken and dumplings made the stock thick. You need that. You don't want like a dumpling and juice. You want like gravy. And that's what the flour does.
Right.
The flour cooks off the dumpling slowly and turns it into gravy. You stir it in there and it turns it into gravy. And that's what you need. Like, see that little piece here? Where I missed my cut? That's going in there.
Well, we had
you know
some.
why?
We had.
It's going to make gravy.
We had some small pieces of drop dumpling that you actually threw in the chicken and dumplings as well.
Yeah.
Waste not, want not.
But
remember?
yeah, that's right. That's right.
I'm gonna go stir this ham.
And that's how we were taught, was waste not, want not. And you know, the times that are upon us, it can be a pretty important thing. We were raised, Mom and Dad lived right next to Grandma and Grandpa. So we spent as much time with our Grandma and Grandpa as we did with my Mom and Dad, with our Mom and Dad. And Grandma and Grandpa, they knew what the Great Depression was. And there is nothing nothing that you could possibly do to prepare yourself for rough times that come ahead than to actually be among people that experience the Great Depression. They know what it's like to be there. They've already been there.
Yeah, and unfortunately,
and they've done that.
If you haven't got to pick their brain yet, there's not many of them left.
There aren't, honestly. There's not. But if you have the opportunity to talk to someone who has experienced that, or to talk to someone who is a child of parents who've experienced that, take the opportunity. And that's what we're trying to do this weekend anyway, is to bring you what we were taught, how we were raised, because we don't waste anything. We don't. You know, when you make, let's say you have, I don't know, corn and peas along with your supper, and there's leftover corn and peas, you don't just put them in the refrigerator. You can put them in the refrigerator and eat them as leftovers. They're still not wasted. But if they're not going to be used, you take the extra and you dump them into a container and you put them in the fridge. And you cover them with a little bit of water, because otherwise they get freezer burned. And every time, like you might have corn in the bottom, cover with water. Then peas, cover with water.
Right.
Carrots, cover with water.
In the freezer.
And when you, in the freezer, and you just get that same container out, and you keep putting vegetables, leftover vegetables that you have with your supper in it, and cover it with water until it's full. And then you have a full container of vegetables for soup.
Right, much like a bag of frozen veg all at the store, right?
Mixed vegetables, exactly.
Yes.
But what you've done is, instead of taking that and scraping it into the trash can and getting rid of it, you saved it and put it in your freezer. You know, we have electricity now. I'm not saying we're always going to have electricity, but right now we do. So take it and put it in a container and put it in your freezer. And later on, you can take leftover roast beef and whatever stock, or if you make gravy out of it, you can just add a little water to the gravy and thin it back down, and you can make
beef vegetable soup.
Beef vegetable soup. You can throw some...
Chop up a couple taters and throw them in there.
You can throw some potatoes in there. You can throw barley in there. Beef and barley soup is awesome. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have enough vegetables, then add some, but at least you haven't wasted what you've already paid for, what you've already made. I think it's going to be important, you know? And I mean, I do.
Use the water and all when you take them out of the freezer, because not only does the water prevent freezer burn, it absorbs some of the flavor of the veggies too.
Yes, it does.
So
yes, yeah. You would dump the whole thing.
Use it all.
You dump the whole thing in there, and that's how we were raised.
You want me to zoom in on that, do you?
Yeah. We are like, the side over the heat is rolling. So, and that's awesome, because I don't want to get it all too hot. So we are ready to start dropping rolled dumplings. Wow, that's almost like, I don't know, what would you call that? Contradictory.
I'm only going to be able to...
We're ready to start dropping rolled dumplings. That is not right.
I'm only going to be able to zoom out so far because we're under this little tiny thing.
Yeah, we are.
This grill, and I'm out of room without getting soaking wet.
Well, I hate to say it, but you know what, you guys? I need to actually get this whole thing rolling, or we're going to have stuff sticking. So it'll only take a second, because we are insanely freaking hot.
Look at her go.
Yeah. Okay, so we are going to start dropping in dumplings, just like this, and Gino's railroad ham. Oh my gosh, it is so hot. You have no idea. Wow. Okay.
This thing's so small over this grill here, this lean-to. I don't even have room for the tripod, so
I've got to move it off the heat. I cannot keep it all rolling, because wow, it is like, you guys, it is insanely hot. I've got to get some type of cooling going on here. And I've stir it a little bit, but you know, you want to drop it into boiling stock, but we're going to do that. So we're going to drop them all on that side, and then after they sit for a second, we're just going to give her a stir.
Oh, look at that.
And then we're going to drop her in again on that side, and we'll give it a stir. So Gino, take a shot of this pot.
I'm
and we're gonna put the cook. We're gonna put the lid back on, and we're gonna let them cook. Just look in there. Looking there at those dumplings.
Mm-hmm.
Slickers, dang it, Slickers.
Yes, Slickers.
We can't call them dumplings. They're only dumplings if they're with chicken. When they're with ham, they're Slickers. And we're gonna put that lid on and we're gonna let it cook. And I guarantee you, that stock is gonna come out thick and like gravy, and those dumplings are just gonna be tender and awesome. And I mean, look at them. Look
and I gotta
good.
say, I've had this meal many times, but this is gonna be the first time I've ever had it cooked over an open fire. This is awesome.
Hey, now honestly, anything you can make on your stove, you can make on an open fire. You just gotta try it. There are variables, but you know what? On your stove, you turn the burner down. On a fire,
you move the pot over.
You do this. You move the pot over. It's
right.
that easy. It doesn't matter. And okay, so that side's on the hot side. Well, let's turn it around a little bit. It doesn't matter. Anybody who can cook on a stove can cook on an open fire. Anybody who knows how to eat can learn how to cook. Anybody who wants to feed themselves can learn how to cook. It's not that hard. It's not rocket science. People have been cooking for years. Thousands and thousands of years. As long as there's been a human, people cooked.
I mean, instead of a stove burner, we have this. Hey guys, are you ready to see this? Look at that pot of goodness.
Ham and Slickers.
Mm-hmm. And the best part about ham and Slickers, the absolute best part, is when you get to eat them. Oh my goodness, it's been years since I had this. Tastes just like my mom's. This is amazing. It's way better than chicken and dumplings for me, but I like chicken and dumplings too. The ham is all flavors all through the rolled dumplings, Slickers. This is awesome. You guys should try it. If you like ham, you'll love it. Thanks for watching. Give us a thumbs up. It helps the channel. And until we see you next time in the woods, take care. God bless y'all.